In this tutorial, we will go over how to set up an item number. To do that, we're going to go to Manufacturing, Product Design, and Items. We'll hit F3 to get a new item card, and we'll go ahead and give this item a name and a description. Please note that the description fields in Navision are only 30 characters long, where they were 50 in Pro, so you will have to shrink up your description some. From there, I want you to go to Functions and Apply Template. And there's 4 templates set up to help you with these inventories to make sure that you get some of the nuances of the inventory setup in there correctly. So there's a lot of things when you use these templates that I've went ahead and defaulted for you. For example, we'll just look at one right here, this item category code, and this is blank at this time. So you'll notice after we apply a template that'll actually put something in there for you. But you have 4 different choices. You have a finished good for an inventory item, a raw for an inventory item, and then if your items need to be lot tracked, we have a lot for a finished and a lot for a raw item. So select the one that's necessary and appropriate for what you're doing. And then from there, we need to actually assign, the next thing we have here is base unit of measure. We actually need to assign the base unit of measure that this product uses. If you try to enter a base unit of measure, even though it's an acceptable base unit of measure, it will not accept it until you actually assign these codes for it. So if you accidentally do that, clear that out. We want to go to Items and Unit of Measure. And then from here, we actually need to give it a code. So here, if it's an each, and then it's quantity per unit of measure. So here, my each is a 1 quantity. And your base unit is what you want to stock this as. So let's say we have an each, we stock it as an each, but let's say we buy it in a case of 5. So in this instance, my case of 5, my per unit quantity of measure is going to be 5. If by chance you bought this as a case of 5, you always sell it as a case of 5, then your per unit of measure would be 1. So on my purchase order, I want to see that my unit of measure, I'm buying 1 case of 5, or if I'm selling this, that I'm selling 1 case of 5. If you have any questions on that, please let me know. Contact the finance director for further information on that. But once we have that set up, you can select as many codes as you need to for your part number. But if we're just going to go with those 2 for this test purposes. So we can go ahead and X out of that, and we're good. And now when I look at my base unit of measure, I see those 2 codes that we just set up. So again, I want my base unit of measure to be whatever I want to stock this in inventory as, which is an each. Now you can see by applying this template, it automatically filled in this finished good a category code for me. You can see we have 2 different codes that we could choose. It's a finished good or a raw, and that's why we have a couple different templates set up. But it did default that information in there for you. Product group code is the same thing as the commodity code in Pro, and so as you scroll up and down that those items, select the one that you need. If you do need to enter another code, you can. In Pro, we were limited to 2 characters. You can see that there are longer ones out here, so you're not limited by that anymore. So please select a product code and give it a description that makes sense for you. The search description automatically fills in from the description we gave it here. And then from there, there's nothing else in this column that you need to do. Next, we'll go to the Invoicing tab. Our costing method, again, will default to FIFO. We want to make sure that that's defaulted. Unit cost is if you were to purchase this item, what is the unit cost? And so if this was a raw item and you were purchasing it, you wouldn't need to enter anything here. Those costs would automatically default from the first time that you buy this item. So when you enter your first purchase order, you would give it a price there, and when you receive that in, then it would automatically add the unit cost for you on this screen. Your price profit calculation, again, should default for you, but you want to make sure that that is price minus cost. And then the unit price, if this is a finished good, is what are you going to invoice this at, is how much. So for our example, we'll say $14. General product posting group, if this is just a normal sale item, we want to make sure that that is sales. And again, if you use the template, that's defaulted for you. The sales just simply mean that it goes into a general trade sales account. Tax posting group, you don't need to do anything with. This is actually Canada sales tax, so you just want to go ahead and leave that blank. Inventory posting group is INV for inventory. Again, that defaults for you with the template. Allow invoice discounts. That is automatically checked, but most of our items would not have an an invoice discount, so you could uncheck that if you'd like. Sales unit of measure, again, this defaults from whatever you put at this base unit of measure, but if you do need to update that, go ahead. For this example, we are going to say that we are going to sell this as an each, so we'll go ahead and leave that. And then our tax group code, I need you to set whether this is a taxable or non-taxable item. So for the most part, when we're just building stuff in the plant and we're just applying labor to it, and the end user customer is going to be reselling this, most of our items will be non-taxable. But if you're setting up item numbers for like janitorial goods and supplies, laundry goods and supplies, most of that, if you were just to resell it, would be taxable. So again, please select the one that's needed. You do have to fill in this field, otherwise the system will take it, but when you actually go in and do an invoice, it will ask you for this information. So please set it up on an item number. In this case, let's say our test 3 item card is actually for a resellable, where we just added labor to something, so we're going to go ahead and say a non-taxable. Our replenishment system, again, most of this should default for you. If you'd like to enter a vendor number where you buy this from, if it's something that we make, it doesn't make much sense, but if you're purchasing a raw janitorial supply or something like that, or your wood, or something like that, you might want to enter a vendor number here in your vendor item number, if that makes sense. If you have more than one vendor that you buy this from, you can go to purchases and vendors, and then you can add other vendors here, and then at the time of purchase order you can actually select various vendors from there. Purchase unit of measure, we talked about that before. We actually buy this in a case of 5. And our unit of measure is a 5 on that, which means I buy it as a case of 5, and then my 5 actually converts to an each. So when I buy one of these, it puts 5 into stock for me. The rest of these you would not change unless you are entering a production bill of material. If there's a bill of material that goes with this item number, what you would need to do is set up the production bill of material, and typically right now we are setting those up to be the same as the finished good item number. So if there's a bill of material associated with that, you want to set up the bill of material, and then you want to come back here and assign that same bill of material number in this field. Otherwise, if somebody goes and orders this and you're going to build it, it's not going to know what to build. The planning tab, there's nothing on this field to fill in, unless you are doing lot tracking. And if you apply the template for a lot finished item, you can see that this has changed now. And my reorder policy is a lot for lot, include the inventory, and then my other 2 fields changed here. So again, when you're using those applied templates, please make sure you're using the right one that makes sense for you. Foreign trade, item tracking, e-commerce, warehouse, and kitting, we don't do anything with those, so you don't even have to touch those tabs. When you're done, you can simply X out, and then your item is available for use. If you need to inactivate an item, you can go in and select this blocked field, this little toggle box. What that does is it makes your item inactive and nobody can use it. You can't purchase on it, you can't sell it, and to get that back so it's available again, you simply just uncheck the box.